a point that I do want to make is that we have to do more to change the narrative and refocus the source of threat to agricultural products from Russia and Belarus that still have access to the European market. And yeah, good. And of course, another thing, we are not openly calling a country Brazil by name, but in a situation like this, if and it doesn't apply only to Poland, it's a broader kind of, it applies to consumers of Brazilian grain in Europe. But I think that the conversation behind the scenes in the Commission and among EU ministers should be that, if Europe has grain in sufficient quantities at good price, maybe we should be buying less Brazilian grain and more Ukrainian grain, so that Ukrainian grain would replace Brazilian grain at least partially on the European market. I know Brazil has very strong lobbyists for their agricultural products in Europe, but my proposal is this, that while we openly address the issue of Russian and Belarusian grain on the market, we should also kind of make the point that Europe should consume European grain and try to solve it.
So, on the topic of changing the narrative and focusing on Russian and Belarusian products, I can assure you that this is happening. I don't see any issues in Brussels, and it is also useful for us politically to turn away the attention. Pushing out Brazilian grain from the European market is a bit more challenging. I fully understand that the best would be for you to sell as much grain to Europe as possible, and your real competition is not really Russia. Limiting the market share of others could be a part of the discussion. We can help with that. But for us, the communication aspect is also very important, because change in actual trade, if any, will be very slow, and we have an immediate political problem to deal with. Mm-hmm. So, we would be very happy to see these protests go away overnight and to have our farmers just simply go home and keep quiet. But this is unfortunately not happening. So whatever we do publicly, we will continue to have to speak out against a Ukrainian grain to some degree. But if you already have a public communication strategy against Brazilian grain, I suggest you bring up this idea with more details during the next round of talks between our ministries. And I make sure that there is backing on our side.
That would be really, really helpful. Bye-bye, Radek. Have a good day. Bye-bye.